Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, hard-working, long weekend-loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Thank you, honey. Hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. Yes, it is a long weekend. Hopefully it is for you as well. Labor Day weekend. We are recording this on Sunday, September 5th, 2021, right in the middle of Labor Day weekend. Right. We hope you are enjoying it in a safe, happy, healthy way with your family, with your friends, or just happy not to have to go into work over these 3 days or so.
Right. And for those essential workers that are at work today, we really appreciate you.
We appreciate you very much, but being the fact that you don't get these extra days off from time to time. So thank you for being out there and putting forth the effort for us when we're all relaxing at home. Sorry about that for all of you, but thank you very much. And thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
I don't know if you've heard this before, but we do have a newsletter, and some of you have signed up for it. We really appreciate that.
Yes. We hope that you have heard of it, and we hope that you have signed up for it, and we hope if you haven't yet that you will in the future. But it's just another way to be kind of involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. You just go to the website. There's all sorts of ways to sign up for the newsletter. They should pop up right in front for you if you're looking for it. And then we kind of put out stuff early for those of you who are members of the newsletter, who subscribe to the newsletter, give you a little insight more into the Hyperion Adventures podcast world.
Right. It's just our way of sharing more things with you.
Yeah. One of the things that you found out first this week, actually it was last week, if you were a subscriber, was that we have opened up nominations again for our Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame, our third annual class this year. And where that category is still open, but it's only open for a couple more days, only open until midday on Tuesday, coming up on the 7th. So just so you know, but this category is favorite Disney villains. We've already had some people that have nominated their favorites. We will be telling you ours next week, as well as the finalists that'll make it to our final ballot. But there's still time to get your favorite villains in there, because there's some great ones that are on the cusp of maybe making it in, maybe not. We'd love to see them make it into our final ballot.
Yeah, so please join in on the fun.
Yes. Another way of joining in on the fun is to hit us up on social media. Please find us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you're on Facebook, we have a great, fun, positive Disney Facebook group that we'd love you to join, the Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group, where we're having a lot of fun with a lot of our fellow Hyperion adventurers out there. Just do a search for Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. You don't even need to ask to join. Just hit I want to join this group, and as long as you're a positive, friendly Disney fan, you can be a part of that wonderful group.
Right. And we hope you invite your friends to join along as well.
Yeah, and chime in. Tell us what your Hyperion adventures are and what you have going on each week. Also, we are on YouTube. Mostly it's just these episodes kind of in a video form, but mostly it's just a different way for you to listen or interact or be able to enjoy this show. Hopefully you enjoy this show. If you want to find us there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast and then hit subscribe. You'll know whenever we have a new video, no matter what it is, whether it's the show or whether it's something we actually go out to the parks or whatever and film. And if you ever want to hit us up for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. We love hearing from you folks and interacting with you that way as well.
Yes, and we got lots of interaction this week, lots of fun stuff to go through that I think we're going to enjoy part of this episode. We have some stuff from all these various different channels we just discussed. Also, please visit our Patreon page and become a member. Help us support the show. Just go to patreon.com/Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We have all sorts of tiers with all sorts of perks, starting for as little as $2 a month. And we'd love your help in helping us kind of cut the cost of the show.
Right. We really appreciate those of you who have already contributed, and we are just so honored by that.
Yes, very much so. Thank you to all of you who have already decided to become Patreon members. We really appreciate you very much. Now, let's get to the segment that I'm never sure if Michelle is going to remember every single week. It's relatively new, but we've been doing it for, 6 or 7 weeks now. And sometimes she remembers, sometimes she doesn't. So did you remember this week what your favorite thing from this week is?
I didn't remember, but as we were, I may have seemed like I was zoned out during this intro. It's because I was trying to think about what I would say on this segment. So.
Okay. Well, do you have it, or do you need a little bit more time? Because I've got mine if you'd like to wait for a second.
Let's go with yours. I think I have narrowed it down to 2, and I'm just back and forth. But maybe yours will influence me.
All right. Well, I will go first then. So my favorite thing from this week is I actually recreated a couple of new Disney Dishes blog recipes. Actually, 3 Disney Dishes blog recipes this week that were just fantastic. I enjoyed every single one of them. One I already released. It's already written up. If you want to go to DisneyDishesBlog.com, you can find it right there. It's the Guinness Bailey's milkshake from the Ireland booth, currently selling right now at the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. Fantastic cocktail.
Yeah.
If you like a little dessert type cocktail, it's really good, but you can find the recipe for that there. Also, I did 2 more regular desserts this week. One that I'll be writing up soon for the blog. The other will be for our Patreon members who are in the Explorer level and above as our next Disney Dishes blog recipe of the month. You'll be receiving that right in your email.
Nice. Yes. So before I get into my favorite thing of the week, I do want to mention, because it is already posted, as you say, the Guinness and Bailey's shake. I know some of you might think Guinness is just too dark of a beer, but let me tell you, adding ice cream and Bailey's makes it wonderful, and you won't have that concern anymore.
It lightens it right up.
It does.
It lightens it right,
really
turns it into a dessert really quickly. But be careful. There is, between the beer and the Bailey's, there is plenty of booze in that thing. So please enjoy responsibly, as we like to say.
Maybe make a batch and share with people.
There you go.
Just go for the taste.
There you go. So how about you? What is your favorite thing from this week? Have you come up with it now?
Yeah, I mean, and since I was struggling between several, that means that there were a lot of good things. Obviously tasting the dishes that you created this week was a blast to do. I think it's going to sound funny, but just the sense of accomplishment. One of the things we've been trying to personally work on is, scaling back some of our junk, because we are collectors of that.
Yes, unfortunately so.
Yeah, and so it was fun this weekend to spend some time in our garage and, kind of go through some things and eliminate some and organize others. So that felt good. A sense of accomplishment of getting some of that worked on. It was a good feeling for me.
Yes, we did get a chunk done this weekend down in the garage, which was dirty and hard work, but we did make some progress, which was good, and we have a lot of more progress to make here in the next several months.
Right.
But it was good to get a start on that.
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping to do more this weekend, but it ends up being a hot weekend, so at least getting one day in was was good. That was a good thing for sure. So good choice. Thank you.
We did get my favorite thing from this week from one of our avid listeners out there, one of our Hyperion adventurers, and that is Scott in Minnesota. He wanted to chime in with my favorite thing from this week. He said is we have started the 7-day countdown until our Walt Disney World trip. And I think this was a few days ago, so it's less than 7 days. He may already be there right now. I don't know. He said, golf, Disney, and COVID. What could be better? I can think of one thing that could be better out of that, but I like 2 things out of that. You should decide what you think those might be. He
Nice.
said, and I'll give you 3 guesses what my favorite thing will be next week, and 2 don't count. So I assume it's actually going to be there. So
Yeah,
so
that's so awesome.
that's
Thank you for
exciting.
sharing with
Yeah.
us, Scott.
I told him to make sure and send plenty of pictures once he gets back from that trip. I'm sure he's going to have a great time. So, despite that, stay away from that COVID thing.
Or protect yourself.
Definitely protect yourself. I mean, you can't
Be
stay
wise.
away from it. It's out
Right.
there.
It's there.
Just be prepared. It is out there. Do your best to stay safe. Everybody. It goes for everybody, whether you're at the parks, wherever you are, do your best to stay safe.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's get to this week's show. We have lots of stuff for you this week, including if you've been anticipating your chance to purchase a Walt Disney World annual pass. Well, we have good news for you? Question mark. There are some.
Gosh, you're so funny.
There are more changes to procedures that you'll need to know if you have a Disney cruise scheduled in the near future. We'll tell you what those are because, as we mentioned during our, updates and information Disney Cruise
Return
Line
to
episode,
cruising, yes.
that things will be changing and they continue to change. So we'll let you know what's going on now, and we also know when we will be able to take part in the holiday time festivities at the Disneyland Resort. We'll tell you all about that as well. But let's get to our main topic of the week. So yes, with it being Labor Day weekend, we thought we talked about this, and Michelle discussed it last week, that we've talked about, cast members, and thank you all the cast members who, don't get Labor Day weekend off. Thank you for putting in the effort out there and how much they make our trips so magical and so special. And we've done some other things involved around, jobs within Disney. But we thought maybe we should go into the character realm and look at some of the different roles, the different jobs that Disney characters have held within their films. And of course, we have to do it as a 5 favorite list because that's how we do things on the Hyperion Adventures podcast. And I'm sure they won't be just 5, which is also the way we do things on the Hyperion Adventures podcast list. So we are going to, and there was also some confusion about how this list was going to play out.
I'm still concerned if there's going to be similarities.
We'll see how this plays out as our 5 favorite Disney characters jobs list comes out here. And when we do these lists, we always start with Michelle. One, because she's wonderful, awesome, all things great in the world. She does the best research. She has, of course, the best tips, but she always definitely has the very best lists. So let's get to it. Michelle, what is your number 5 favorite Disney character's job?
Well, before I get into the list, I do have some things to say, of course. First of all, we didn't discuss what these lists are about. So I'm wondering if there's going to be similarities in the sense of how we interpreted the topic. So that's intriguing me. I didn't make a backup plan, so I have what I have. If it's a different route than the way you took, well, then we just have 2 different lists. So
Yes.
that's just how it goes.
That's how it goes. We'll see how this plays out. Always an interesting time as we go through these things.
Right. So the other thing to point out is I did exclude Mickey Mouse and Homer Simpson's, even though they've had so many jobs. I think almost all jobs, or at least the most unique ones. But if I had broken that rule, I'll just say that I would have picked Homer's monorail conductor role.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like Mr. Plow.
I know. He's got a lot of jobs that I like, but, that one kind of resonates with me because of the theme parks and how fun that would be to be a monorail conductor.
That's true.
But anyways, I didn't include those characters in my top 5.
Okay.
So
I do
figured we could do a whole episode
Spoiler
on either
alert,
of those.
I have one of them in my top 5. Okay.
Doesn't surprise me, but they're good characters. Okay. So, all right. So right off the bat with number 5, I do have a 5A and B.
There it is.
But that's the only one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So
that's a surprise.
I
know. Sorry, everybody. You went with the over, but we're only slightly over. I don't know how far you went over. +2, +3, +10. Only +1. So
I'm trying to get on track with the top 5.
Why?
But I know, right? So, okay. So 5A would be a lamplighter, which was Jack in Mary Poppins Returns. I just thought it would be fun to be able to, be high up, get to see the whole city, the views, and, the start of the day.
And he follows your rule to always look up.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And my 5B is Baker, played by the character was the baker in the film Into the Woods.
Yes.
And that's mainly just because I love baking. So it's like, I like that job too.
There you go. I like it.
Thank you.
Those are good.
Thanks. What about your number 5?
Well, for my number 5, as we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen.
Yeah.
So my number 5 job is ice harvester / supplier.
Nice.
Kristoff from the whole Frozen franchise. I know the reason more than I just love I love Frozen, but I love Kristoff. He's such a great character. He's fantastic. And where would they be without, the vehicle that he uses for his job, that sleigh.
Right.
It's put into function throughout the franchise in many ways. Of course, it takes on up to Elsa's castle, ice castle. In Frozen 2, it's taken to they take that to go to the enchanted forest.
Right.
So it comes into play, but more than anything else, it's just funny that, he's ready to sell all this ice in the summer.
True.
And that's when Elsa decides to freeze everything. And now he's like, great, what do I do?
Right?
I have all this ice to sell. And now there's ice everywhere. So I just think it's funny. So that's why I picked that as my number 5 job.
And that's a good one too, because it's actually very pinnacle for a lot of reasons, but just from the very basic that he is in the right place at the right time as a child to see, his love family and, then know how they play a role later on and, connecting them. So that career for him really was a pivotal part to making the story flow.
Yeah. Plus, it kicks off the entire franchise when they are harvesting. He's young,
right?
And they're the adults are harvesting the ice, showing you how they're harvesting this ice and everything, and singing basically the song of what to watch out for as this film plays out. So it just kind of kicks off the entire what would become a fantastic franchise that I love very much. So,
all right.
So that's my number 5 favorite Disney characters. Let's get to the real list though again. What is Michelle's number 4 favorite Disney character's job?
Okay, so and I think I did favorite job or unique job of a Disney character in a film.
I didn't do favorite characters. I did the job that the characters play.
See, we were on the same page this time.
What do you know? Occasionally happens. Sorry again, gamblers. I'm sure you had the bet on they would not be on the same page.
Okay, so my number 4 would be being a songwriter for Walt Disney, as the Sherman Brothers were in the film The Boys. And I thought it just had to be so exciting. I'm not talented, so I couldn't do it, but would love to be. But just that whole, their story and what it was, and how they also played such an important role in storytelling at the start of all of this in the movies and the and we see it or hear it, I should say, in attractions and things like that. And the thing about the job is it to me it would have the thrills, the deadlines, a sense of accomplishment, or all things that I personally like having in a job. So that would be my number 4.
That's a great one. Yeah, the Sherman Brothers. And by the way, if you haven't seen The Boys, it is on Disney Plus. You can check it out anytime. Right. It's a great look into their long career from just getting started all the way to today, what they're doing. Well, one of them's doing now, and a very tumultuous life as, 2 brothers that, work together. It could be a little problematic at times, but they were able to find ways to work through their differences and create such great music that we know from the films and even in the parks, of course.
Right.
So, really interesting stuff. Great stuff. So there you go.
Thank you. So what about your number 4?
I didn't take things quite as literally as you did as far as making them real people doing real jobs, as you'll hear from my number 4, because my number 4 is a Baskin Robbins employee that Scott Lang played, aka Ant-Man.
That's so funny. That one crossed my mind.
in the movie Ant-Man. It's not a long scene, but it's a great one. It's
Right.
hilarious. He just gets out of prison after doing he was in prison for basically doing a Robin Hood thing, exposing this company,
Right.
that was, basically taking all this money away from these other people. And then he got busted and had to go to prison. But because he went to prison, he couldn't get a job, even though he's super talented and
Right.
smart and everything. The job he could only land was at Baskin Robbins. And
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
that's the funny thing is the Baskin Robbins always finds out line, which it runs through is hilarious. But they track it down. But also the fact that he's there, and who hasn't been, an employee at one point in your life that's, coming there and the customer has no idea what they're trying to order. I'm sure
Right.
you cast members have seen this at Disney many times, guys in Baskin Robbins. I mean, who doesn't know what Baskin Robbins
Right.
serves? Asking for like a hamburger, And it's like, no, we do ice cream
I
here.
know.
I just think I think it's just a hilarious scene and a great movie.
Yeah, totally. I love that example of people not knowing what to order, how to order. I think we've all been in line at a Disney park and had an experience to see somebody really struggle with ordering what is actually available and on the menu there.
Yeah, and we're always behind those people. So, very funny. So that's my number 4 favorite Disney character's job. Michelle, back to the real list. What is your number 3 favorite Disney character's job?
Okay, I lightened it up on this one. So my number 3 would be Santa Claus. The Scott Calvin in the Santa Claus series, obviously got to be Santa Claus. And first of all, I'd really want to be in a place that looked like their North Pole.
It's really good,
yeah, it looked so amazing. The magic that the elves possessed and how fabulous it was. And I definitely would want Bernard as my right-hand man. I think he's a get the job done kind of person. But also, like, who wouldn't want a job where you touch people's hearts so deeply? So that is my number 3.
I mean, you only really have to work like one day a year.
Well, there's a lot of planning. You saw the list, the length
magic.
of the list. Come on,
He's
go
magic.
through the whole
He can go
list.
through the list with magic. He's good.
He needs an algorithm made for his list.
As an honorable mention, I had Scott Calvin, but as the job he had before he was Santa Claus, where he was basically an advertising agent for a toy building company, which is funny because obviously it fits into what he later becomes.
Exactly.
So good choice.
Well, thank you.
Michelle's list, always the best list.
I lightened it up there for you. So.
There you go.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Jewel Miners from, of course, which is the 7 dwarfs.
Yeah.
From Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. And it's like, they don't even know what it's in the song. We don't even know what they're mining these jewels for. Yet they're so happy to go to and from work that they sing and whistle all the way there.
That's true.
So it must be a great job. I don't know. I never really thought of mining as this job I really want to do, but they seem really, really happy with it. So, plus it's of course the mine scene is the best scene in 7 Dwarfs Mine Train, and now Snow White's Enchanted Wish, which uses very similar technology and a similar scene. It's a great scene, and just love the 7 Dwarfs. And it's the first animated film that Disney put out.
It's a classic.
Kind of got to put it in there. So that's why I chose that one.
That's actually a great choice. Excellent, honey. Wow. Yeah. And they, like you said, they do make it look fun. I think, it shows that if you have a good team coming together and you come up with good systems, that it can be fun.
Yeah, I guess so. Even mining, which doesn't seem like a fun job to me. But they're really digging it. So good for them. So,
all right.
So that's my number 3.
Close to the ends here.
Back to the real list here. Michelle, what is your number 2 favorite Disney character's job?
Okay, my number 2, inspired by Star Wars, it's DJ. Now, not the character DJ from The Last Jedi. I know he had a career too, but that's not who I'm talking about. I am talking about DJ Rex, the person who brings the fun. I mean, really, what would Olga's be without DJ Rex?
Very true. Oh, it'd be a nice cantina, but it'd be pretty ho-hum.
Right.
Yeah, he gets the party going.
That's
for sure.
right. So.
And sometimes you got to get him going when the party shuts down.
Yeah,
because he does malfunction occasionally.
Right.
But yeah.
Pull out some tools and that gets resolved.
That's right.
But yeah, that seems like a fun job.
Yeah, I like it. And he's a great DJ.
Yeah.
Hand in the air and everything.
Right.
So good. Love it. It's my favorite part, I think, of Olga's Cantina. I mean, yeah, the cocktails are great. The ambiance is great. But man, love DJ Rex.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very animated.
Great
too.
choice. Great choice.
Thank you. So now we're down to your number 2. Ooh,
my number
close.
2, well, I do actually have a 2A and 2B, but that's
Wow.
because they tie into one another here.
Okay.
So my 2A and B are Monsters, Inc. Scarer and Jokester.
Nice.
One by Sully.
Right.
One by Mike Wazowski.
Right.
And of course, and we've seen this progress throughout the Monsters, Inc. franchise, including the new Monsters at Work series, which grew on me. When it first started, I'm like, okay, it's all right. It's cute, But as the series went on, really grew on me. I really enjoyed it. So
made me tear up.
Yeah, well, no spoilers, but
I
yes,
know.
Yes,
it's a good one.
Anyways, both Sully and Mike in their respective jobs were the best at their respective jobs. As far as whether it be a scarer, Sully, or a jokester, Mike. Love the transition from one position where this company is all about scare power to where it's all about laughter power, and it's just. And also that movie, the original Monsters, Inc. will always have a soft spot in our heart because it is our first Disney movie date night that we had together. Gosh, it's
been a while.
I hate to date ourselves, but it's going to be 20 years this year.
Yeah.
20 years I think it's November.
Right. Yeah. Well, especially how the 9/11 kind of played a role into us connecting and stuff. So, that's how it's kind of.
Yeah, tragedy.
I can remember.
Tragedy led to something that it was great for us. As much as that was such a big tragedy that we will all be discussing all this week, by the way. But anyway, the movie. Love that movie. And the fact that you were willing, after this first movie date with me, to stay with me after seeing me bawl at the end of it, because who doesn't bawl at the end of Monsters, Inc., the original film, the first few times you've seen it, or even probably now. So that much more reason why it's close to my heart and yours, of course, as well.
Definitely.
So that's my 2A and 2B, but let's really get down to brass tacks here. What is Michelle's number 1 favorite Disney character's job?
Wow. And so I was concerned that we were both going to have the same one for number 1, but now I'm thinking by process of elimination of either a Mickey Mouse or Simpsons character not being mentioned, we're in the clear. We're not going to tie with our number 1. So that's, I guess, a good thing. So my number 1 would be to be a riverboat captain and witty joke teller like Skipper Frank from the Jungle Cruise.
Yes.
Plus, it was just announced the sequel was given a green light, and both The Rock and Emily Blunt will return for the brand new adventure. And Michael Green, who co-wrote the hit, is also on the team. And they are really expecting a lot of the other directors and producers to be involved again. So that was good news. But yes, it's one of the best attractions at Disney Park, and it's just so fun. And the fact that they've, reimagined it so it has some new life put into it as well. It just seems like a great career.
Yeah, great choice. We love the Skippers.
Yeah.
And Frank is a great one for sure. I love he slips in those jokes throughout the film, even in some of the more tense moments.
Exactly.
It's really great. So,
yeah.
Love it. And yes, they announced they will be making a sequel, not a surprise, I think, after the success of the first one.
Right.
And I saw this on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I don't know who to give the credit for this, but they're saying it should be a holiday Christmas themed one, and of course be called the Jingle Cruise.
Oh yeah, right. What a great idea.
How does Frank save Christmas? You know.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway,
but
so great choice.
Well, thanks. Yeah, and like when they're to get some blend or variety in their role as a captain. they can also, or skipper, they can also go into the restaurant and, help people get great food and a fun environment there as well.
Yeah. Really great.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Great.
Thank you.
Great choice. Michelle's list, always the best list.
I don't know about that. I'm anxious to hear your number one.
So for my number one, and you were correct, it was obviously by the process of elimination, since I said one of them would be within this episode. There is going to be one, and it definitely is going to be Mickey Mouse.
All right.
And he is number one because I think that, yes, he has held different jobs, but there is one that is the key job that he's held that is even transitioned into the parks in ways. And that, of course, is the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia. So I have to have Mickey Mouse as the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia as my number one. It's just such a classic scene that we all know, we all love. I can watch just that scene from Fantasia. Don't need to watch anything else. And it's been put into play in various different ways within the parks as well. But before I get to that, I mean, more than anything else, we've all been in that position within a job early on where we've all kind of wanted to rush ourselves into that promotion, move along a little quicker maybe than we're ready for, and take on a little more. And maybe we're not quite ready for it. And he wasn't. Of course, Mickey is just he's an apprentice. He's doing the dirty work. And he just was trying to do the little shortcut to make his job a little bit easier. But then mayhem ensued.
Perks of the job.
Yes. But then he moved it out to the park, and we see him, Sorcerer Mickey, as of course in Fantasmic. If you've ever been to Disneyland and seen Mickey's Magical Map, there's a little bit of that going on with that as well. It has played out in many different ways throughout the parks, and of course this wonderful, wonderful scene that we all really know and love. So that's why the Sorcerer's Apprentice, Mickey Mouse, is my number one.
That is a great choice, and for all the right reasons, And one of the other things you're mentioning, how it's visible in the parks, even at the resort. So at Disneyland Resort, when you're leaving the parks in downtown Disney to go to that resort, you see that iconic, cap out there. So that's very fun too. Yeah.
So those are our lists. We hope you enjoyed them. We did get some listener input as well on our list. Not a lot, but a little bit. I put it out there pretty late. So matter of fact,
we kind of slacked this week.
I put it out this morning. So that's why we may be a little limited. But if you haven't chimed in yet, we'd be happy to receive your picks, and we can talk about them next week. But here's what we did receive. The first one came from Jonathan, who hit us up on Instagram. You can find Jonathan at Vinyl and Disney. And these are in no particular order. He said, Scarer Jokester from Monsters, Inc.
Nice.
Race car driver, Lightning McQueen from the Cars franchise. Yeah. Pirate, of course. Jack Sparrow. A few other pirates.
That one almost made my list too. Yeah.
Bounty hunter. I mean, obviously the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, or it could be some other bounty hunters. But I think that's what he was specifically talking about, was Mando. And just like Michelle, Jungle Cruise skipper from, of course, Frank from the Jungle Cruise movie. So great choices.
Great list.
Yeah, I love it. So Adam from the Mouse and More podcast hit us up on the Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group.
Nice.
And this is funny because both he and our next person said in no particular order, and then they proceeded to number theirs. So I will not give the numbers since they said no particular order before they numbered theirs, but I just thought that was kind of funny.
That was cute.
So Adam said first, whatever job John Progress has to commute every day to the rat race, the Carousel of Progress. John Progress is always talking about having to commute to the rat race, which is funny.
Yeah.
He agrees with me, Christoph, selling ice in the winter, actually in the summer too. He moves on to say Sunny Eclipse, the Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe Lounge singer. Yes. He puts on a great show. We already had DJ Rex, but Sunny Eclipse puts on a fantastic show for sure. Tiana owning her own restaurant, Tiana's Place.
Yeah. That was a thought too.
As an honorable mention, I had her as a waitress, but it's even better as her as the owner of the Tiana's Place for sure. And Smee, another pirate, as the first mate of the Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. Great choice.
Good list.
Rachel from the Part of Our World podcast also hit us up on the Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. Again, in no particular order, yet she numbered them. not trying to poke any fun. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
kind of a funny thing to
cute.
me. So anyway, she said, Nick Wilde and his popsicle hustle. I love Nick Wilde.
Yes.
Nick Wilde is my favorite. So not necessarily my favorite,
Right.
but one of my favorite characters of all time. So right there in stride with you there, Rachel. He was one of my honorable mentions for sure, but as a police officer, not as the popsicle hustler.
Oh yeah. I had Judy Hopps on my list at one point.
I had both of them together. At one point I had another A and B where they were going to be police officers
Makes
together.
sense.
Yeah. But they got pushed off my list. Moving on, she said, Mr. Ray, Nemo's teacher. She goes on to say, yay, teachers.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to
course.
Joe of Soul as well, which I had on my honorable mentions. Joe Gardner.
Yeah.
As a music teacher. So very nice. Of course, Rachel is a teacher, and so
Right.
is her husband, Keenan. They're
Yes.
great teachers and wonderful people. So moving on, Sully, scarer to CEO of Monsters, Inc. for
Right.
sure. Yeah. Maz Kanata, pirate queen and owner-proprietor of Maz's Castle on Takodana. You may remember from the
Right,
Star
right.
Wars sequel trilogy, Maz.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Just didn't even think of that
Yeah,
one. Wow.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
And she finishes up with Elastigirl / Mrs. Incredible, mother and superhero. So,
Nice.
which I think many mothers,
Yep.
including you, including Rachel, and many of
Right.
you out there are both mother and superhero. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, What? That's awesome.
Yeah,
Hadn't
so-
thought of that. Duh.
Great list. Thank you, listeners, for chiming in. And again, if you want to hit us up with your list, if you didn't have time to get them in this week, just send them to us and we will read them next week. So I have a few more honorable mentions, but I'd like to hear if you have some first.
Well, I mean, I think, I kind of mentioned already the Judy Hopps, and I also had Tiana as my honorable mention. So those were the main ones.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have a few more. We'll start with the Star Wars franchise and we'll go with various characters, but I'll
Right.
just stay with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great job. And then we'll go with Han Solo and Smuggler.
Right.
I guess I can go with Leia as well, with Senator,
Right.
General.
General. Yeah.
So
yeah.
many different roles that she
Right.
held that were very important. Moving on, how about children's photographer for Goofy in a Goofy
that
movie?
one I thought of too. Didn't put it on the list, but definitely crossed my mind.
Even Pete too, although they had a different way of
Right.
kind of doing this.
Their
They
approaches were
very
slightly
different.
different.
Very funny. How about Ravager? Peter Quill as Star
Right.
Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy, and Yondu and some of
Right,
the others.
right.
Test pilot Carol Danvers from Captain Marvel.
Yes.
That was a great job as well. And I knew I had another one that I told you at the beginning.
Yes.
I didn't write down and I was going to forget. And what do you know? I forgot. If I remember it this week, just like you all who write us in, I will mention it next week. So,
You're so funny.
oh boy, getting old is no fun.
Oh man, it's not that. It's just we overheated our brains with the work in the garage.
Doesn't take much to overheat this little thing up here in my head. Anyway, that is our 5 favorite Disney characters' jobs. Again, we'd love to hear yours. Hit us up on social media, through the email, the newsletter, any way you want to do it. And we'll be happy to share yours with everybody else next week. So many great Disney characters,
Yeah.
so many great Disney jobs. And again, the best Disney characters who do the best Disney jobs is still the Disney cast members
right.
themselves. Thank you
Yes.
all. And especially
Bravo.
through the troubling times that we've had to go through recently,
Yeah.
for doing all that you do and making our trips magical. We love you all. We appreciate you all. Thank you for being there for us.
Right, and we honor you this Labor Day.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I know the Morning Monorail, who unfortunately just left us, their show just left us this last week, would always say this. So I'm kind of glomming onto them. But since they're not doing an episode this week, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If you get the chance, go out there and thank a cast member. Okay. Because
Great recommendation.
Thank as many of them as you can because they deserve it. So.
That's very true.
For sure. So let's move on quickly to the Disney stories of the week. I do have a few for you this week.
I have one.
Oh, Michelle.
Woo-hoo.
Michelle always has the best stories, so we save her for last.
I wasn't sure if you were going to cover this one or not.
So I can't wait to hear this one. So we'll get to mine first. We'll get to the boring ones first, and then we'll get to the real story at the end. So I'll start with if you've been anticipating your chance to purchase a Walt Disney World annual pass, well, we have good news for you.
We have news.
I think it's good news, actually,
Yeah.
but I know some people aren't necessarily feeling that same way, and I understand some of their feelings on regards to this. But we'll quickly go through it just the same. This from the Disney Parks blog. They say, we're excited to share that beginning on September 8th, so this week, just a few days from now, we're recording this, of course, on the 5th, we will once again invite new Walt Disney World annual pass holders to be a part of this beloved program. Yes, they're going to be selling annual passes once again for Walt Disney World. You know, they've been on hold for quite a while during this pandemic. You have been able to renew, but you haven't been able to purchase a new one. Well, now as of this week, you will be able to purchase a brand new annual pass.
Yeah, that's exciting news. I know that, you know, a lot of people who were planning trips felt like, oh man, it would have been great to this year be the year to get an annual pass. But now that's going to be happening.
Yes. So the system is a little bit different now that they're putting these back into place. So we're going to go through this here. They say more in the story. They say we are introducing 4 new annual passes offering the flexibility and choice to meet guest needs, each designed based on pass holder feedback. These passes will help our biggest fans experience all that's to come during the world's most magical celebration, from new attractions and nighttime spectaculars to dazzling decorations at all 4 theme parks. So here are the 4 passes. And they have brand new names. It used to be gold, silver, platinum. Now they're basically named after Disney character jobs. Actually, I think they're kind of named after jobs a little bit, except for the pixie dust. Well, I guess Tinkerbell's job is to sprinkle pixie dust on people. So the first pass is the Disney Pixie Dust Pass. That one costs $399 plus tax, but that one is only available for Florida residents. So, which when you hear the blackout dates, which I'll just go ahead and say, the blackout dates are basically most weekends. Okay. I think it's actually all weekends and the holidays and everything else. So you're only really going to be able to attend during the week if you have this annual pass. So that's why probably better for most Florida residents than, I mean, if you're traveling there during the week and you go, if you're doing a vacation during the week, this might be the pass for you, but you have to be a Florida resident to get it. Anyways, $399 plus tax. They do have an installment plan for Florida residents. It's $19 per month for 12 months after $205 down payment started off with. So, and with that pass, you'll get to visit, it's park hopperability. You get to visit any of the theme parks during the day. You'll get to hold up to 3 park reservations at a time. Okay. Moving on to the next higher tier level. And this one is also only available for Florida residents, which surprised me a little bit. I figured the low price one would be, but this one also only available for Florida residents. This one is the Disney Pirate Pass. It is $699 plus tax, or $45 per month after that initial $205 down payment. And again, park hopperability, all the parks. You can hold up to 4 park reservations with this one. So just so you know. Now the one that's...
Are the blackouts similar?
Blackouts, actually, this one's pretty good. It has a lot of weekend availability.
Okay.
It has the holidays, of course, blacked out. There are some weekends blacked out, but lots of weekends and weekday availability. It's actually a pretty good pass if you're a Florida resident and you like to go on the weekends. It's not bad for you. The next one is the Disney Sorcerer Pass. This is, again, only available for Florida residents and Disney Vacation Club members. So this is kind of on par with what we have right now, which is the Gold Pass. Which is only available for Florida residents and DVC members. So just so you know, again, $899 plus tax, $63 per month after the $205 down payment. Same thing, Park Hopper. All the parks are open for you. You get to hold up to 5 reservations at a time with this one. This one has very few blackout dates, just the holidays, essentially. Right. There is Thanksgiving and basically 2 weeks around Christmas, which is the only blackout dates available. For that one is pretty wide open for wherever you want to go. Now, if you're an out-of-state resident or you don't want to be concerned with blackout dates, someone who travels to the parks a lot during the holidays or whatever, then you're going to want to go for the big one, the expensive one, the Disney Incredipass, which is $1,299 plus tax. By the way, these are just for straight first-time buying. It's not renewing. There's discounts on all of these. I don't have the renewal prices here, but just know it's much less expensive if you're renewing this pass. That one is $99 per month after the $205 down payment. And also, just like with the Sorcerer Pass, you get up to 5 park reservations per time. Now, they do say that there will be some possible bonus park reservation days that will open up. I think that what will happen is they're going to judge, see how busy days are. And even if you're holding 5 reservations at a time, if there's a day that doesn't look super busy, they'll open those up to people who already hold several reservations. Also, you can, as an annual pass holder, if you have a resort stay, also book more reservations on top of that as well, so you know. Now, with all of these passes, you do get standard theme park parking. So that's included, which is a good perk. Yeah. And savings of up to 20% on dining and merchandise and some events and some other things as well. Now, here's where the controversy lies a little bit, because there's a couple things. Well, one thing particularly that is an add-on that is now an add-on that used to be included with these annual passes, and that is Disney Photo Pass downloads. Right. So now, instead of that being a part of some of these passes, that is going to be a $99 add-on per pass. So for the year. Right. So you may want to add that to at least one of your group family members so they can download pictures if that's what you'd like to do, if you like to get a lot of pictures at the park. Another add-on is the Water Park and Sports Package, which is also $99 per year per pass. That one, there were some passes that water parks were included before, and I think some people are upset that they don't have that ability now. But I mean, you can add that to your pass if you so decide. But there are some other extra perks if you do add that to you. And one, of course, you'll get to admission to Disney's water parks, Blizzard Beach, which is currently open, not open right now, but Typhoon Lagoon, once that reopens, you can go to that. Also, you get rounds of golf with this, of course. Miniature golf, anytime before 4, you get a round at either Fantasia Gardens or Winter Summerland. Or you can do more of a traditional golf, either traditional golf or foot golf at Disney's Oak Trail Golf Course. That is included in the price of that as well. So if you like to, when you go on your trips, go out and play a little miniature golf or more traditional golf or even foot golf. You might want to add that onto your passes. So they're giving you options. Again, this is where the controversy lies, in the fact that they're taking away something that used to be included. And I know people are seeing a lot of that going on right now. I like options personally, but I get the photo. I was a little disappointed to see that Photo Pass was not included in our annual. It still is included in the one we have right now, but when we renew, it will not be included anymore unless we decide to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we never like things to, benefits to be decreased. I can understand, especially if they've interviewed people, that some of those things weren't, they were add-ons that didn't get used. And so if that's something that, can make the cost that would have gone up even higher be reduced, that's a good thing.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm not, again, I don't like that they are continuing to sort of take things away that were included before. It's tough to handle every time, but that's just kind of the way things are going right now. And so you have to decide for yourself what was best for you. Maybe it's best to do tickets and do Disney Genie Plus, or, if you want to get these photo passes, or maybe it's better to do the annual pass and go ahead and shell out the money. I guess, again, like anything else, when you're planning a Disney vacation, do the math. figure out what works best. Compare, contrast.
Right.
Look at, okay, if I buy a tickets and I add Genie Plus for a day or two when I think I might take pictures, how does that versus I'm taking several trips and I may be using it more often or whatever it may be.
Right.
Do the math, figure it out what's right for you. Value is what is right for you. Don't let anybody else tell you what value should be for you. Value is right for each individual person or family.
Yeah, exactly. And, you also can have the flexibility if you're not sure, and you can buy multi-day tickets, and then before it's used up, make a decision and just do an upgrade from there. So, I mean, there is some flexibility that way too, that you can have some time to really judge if it's going to be something you're going to do again. And considering a lot of people do go to Disney World who aren't locals, the annual passes don't really play into it as much. And so it's not something that everybody's going to have to make that decision on anyway.
It's really true. I mean, we go to Disneyland, and Disneyland has been for decades now driven by annual pass holders. I mean, it's such a locals park. I mean, not that people don't travel to it. Plenty of people travel to it, but it really is, attendance is driven much more locally as opposed to Walt Disney World. And plenty of people who visit locally. But, especially once let's hope the pandemic eventually subsides a little bit.
Right.
Please, can we get there? Then there are many more people who visit are travelers from out of state that may go once a year, may go once a decade. You never know. And they're probably not buying annual passes if you're going that little. So, Leslie, that's also why you see so many more of these annual passes are Florida residents only, because those are the people that are really going to put annual passes into play more often than not. So, by the way, current pass holders, if you already have your pass like we do, just know that you will have the option to renew to these new passes when yours expire, and you will get the renewal discount, whatever. But until the time that your pass expires, you still have the same perks, everything that came with your regular annual pass. So if you have the silver, gold, platinum plus, whatever was included in that, they're not taking that away.
Right.
But when you renew, just know that things will change slightly.
Right. Good deal.
There you go. So that's a breakdown kind of the annual passes. And you can see where the controversy lies there. But
I guess the good thing is that annual passes are being sold again.
Yeah.
And
I know there was concern that they weren't going to sell them again.
Right. Yeah. I actually even thought about, wow, are they going to not have it? And how do you do that if you go frequently? So it's a good thing.
Glad. Yeah. And we've done both now. We now are Magic Key holders at the Disneyland Resort. So we have our annual pass sort of for Disneyland, and we still have our gold pass for the Walt Disney World Resort. And I'm sure we will renew when our time comes up. I think it's in March is when our next one, when we will be renewing our passes, and we'll pick out which one is right for us.
That's right.
Yeah. So moving on, we've talked about this over the last few weeks because changes keep happening, and there are more changes to procedures that you'll need to know if you have a Disney cruise scheduled in the near future. This from the Disney Cruise Line blog. Great blog. If you're interested in Disney Cruise at all, guy does a great job of putting stuff out there, information, past navigators, all sorts of stuff to kind of, so you can be in the know with what's going on with Disney Cruise Line. And he's also a great follow on social media. Please check him out. Anyways, he says that all guests 12 years of age and older now must be fully vaccinated to sail to any destination on Disney Cruise Line. So know that. But we mentioned last week that it was in response to the Bahamas requiring that anybody that was 12 years of age or older to visit their ports, including Disney's private island, Castaway Cay, had to be vaccinated. Well, they've just gone ahead and just done this for all their cruises going on out from here on out. So know that going in. Guests 11 years of age and younger are not required to be vaccinated because they can't be right now, but they must provide proof of a negative pre-trip PCR COVID-19 test. The only exception for this is the Panama Canal sailings, which all passengers must be vaccinated. So that means if you're doing the Panama Canal cruise, if you have that scheduled coming here, the eastbound Panama Canal cruise that is scheduled for later this year, there will be no children on that ship younger than 12 years age or older.
It makes sense because it is a longer cruise. And so I think they're trying to just make sure the potential for cross-contamination of COVID on that ship would be lessened by having everybody be vaccinated.
Right. So they're being very careful since that is a longer cruise. You know, as they know, we're really they're trying to keep these under 7 days or less up to this point. That there's just no way to do that cruise if they're going to actually do it with passengers on board in under 7 days, or 7 days or less. So that's why they decided to make that. It made it interesting. I was like, can we figure that out? How can we do that cruise? That'd be kind of cool. We love kids. I love watching the kids on board Disney cruises. Part of the things that makes me happy is like when you see a child walking down the corridor and Minnie Mouse comes around the corner and seeing their face light up. It's part of the great things about Disney Cruise, but also cruising with less kids I've never even thought of it doing with no kids on board would be fascinating experience as well.
Yeah, I would think that some of the, more and more of the entertainment obviously would be geared for adults. So it would just give, I guess more choices for adults of different things to do. And
full open house in the kids clubs.
Yeah, that's right.
Full open house. So they went on to say there are some other updated CDC requirements that are going to be debuting on September 13th with Disney Cruise and will be going on until further notice. First of all, the timing for pre-sale COVID-19 tests have changed. Instead of being between 5 days and 24 hours prior to the sale date, tests must now be taken and submitted between 3 days and 24 hours prior to the sale date.
Makes
so that's
sense.
Obviously, since everybody has to be vaccinated, that's just for the kids under 12 that need to do that. The test should be a rapid PCR test or a lab-based PCR test. Rapid antigen tests are not accepted, just so you know that going in. So as far as embarkation COVID-19 tests, all guests, regardless of age and vaccination status, are now required or will be required as of September 13th. September 13th, to take a COVID-19 test administered by Inspire Diagnostics at the terminal before boarding. You don't have to pay for it. Disney Cruise Line is covering the cost, but that means even if you're vaccinated, you will be taking that test at the port. You don't have to do the one prior to that if you're vaccinated and above the age of 11.
Right.
You do not have to take the pre-test 3 days out. But you do have to do the one at the port before you board. So just know that
makes
going
sense.
in.
Yeah, we kind of were expecting that.
Happen. Especially since there have been many more breakthrough cases with the Delta variant that we've been seeing. I think they just want to be sure that you could be having and a lot of people who are vaccinated have it, but even if you're not vaccinated, we've seen people catch it and not have symptoms.
Right.
So you could have it.
Be a carrier.
Be vaccinated, have no idea that you have it, and then bring it on board, and it could spread. So that's why they need to do that test before you go on board.
And that's really interesting that Disney's not going to charge now because it is a third party doing that.
Right.
So somebody's got to pay them.
Right. And that is Disney.
Right.
Disney is paying for that for you. So know that going in. Also, there are some updates to the Safe Passage website beginning. It's already begun. Guests can register and create an account associated with their reservation starting at 15 days prior to sailing instead of 33 days, which was the original time. So now it's closer to the time. This is kind of tied in with the fact that they've changed their cruise date flexibility policy, which now allows guests to change their sail date up to 15 days prior to embarkation. So it gives you a little more leeway to decide there and before you want to figure out what you want to do. So you just know that going in that you'll have more time to figure it out, decide if you want to cancel if things aren't working right for you, or if someone you come in contact with or someone within your family does test COVID positive ahead of that time. It gives you just a little more leeway to change and also to get your information it's a shorter term to get your information in, but
Right.
you can get your information in ahead of time.
So, yeah, it's good. And it's good that they're having that flexibility again to keep people safe because the last thing you want is somebody who's sick or been exposed to, get other passengers sick.
Right, for sure. So anyway, let's get away from the more tedious news or the more is it good or bad news to what really is good news. And that is that we now know when we will be able to take part in the holiday time festivities at the Disneyland Resort, our favorite time of year at the Disneyland Resort and the Walt Disney World Resort for that matter. This again from the Disney Parks blog. They say the Disneyland Resort will once again transform into a merry and magical place as guests return to enjoy their holiday season on November 12th of 2021. That's when it's all starting. You'll have 3 more days to celebrate the holidays too, because we're extending it, they said, through January 9th of 2022. So maybe you don't want to get there when it's crazy at the end of the year, when everybody starts going between Christmas and New Year's and everything. Believe me, that little week after the holidays is a great week to go.
Yes.
All the holiday stuff is still up, and you still get to experience all the holiday layovers and everything. And giving you a couple extra days is really nice as well.
Yeah, especially since they do have so many great holiday layovers at Disneyland.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Cool.
Yep, those overlays are very, very cool. And they go on to say, as you visit to make new memories this year, many beloved traditions are back that will provide you with cheerful entertainment, Yuletide treats, specialty merchandise, sparkling decor, and seasonal transformations of select attractions. At the Disneyland Park,
I was like, that's a new park, but okay.
Talking's really easy for me. At Disneyland Park, nostalgic holiday magic shines brightly with the glistening Sleeping Beauty's Winter Castle and a 60-foot Christmas tree on Main Street, USA. Both make wonderful photo locations for that cherished memory of your holiday visit. Entertainment making a comeback this year at the park includes a Christmas fantasy parade. Yay! Where beloved Disney characters join Santa Claus for a merry musical celebration down Main Street, USA. You may also see Santa making other stops within the park throughout your visit. For the perfect kiss goodnight, you will be treated to Believe in Holiday Magic Fireworks Spectacular and magical snowfall over portions of Main Street, USA. Additionally, seasonal transformations will happen once again at It's a Small World Holiday.
That's awesome.
Of course, the 20th installation of Haunted Mansion Holiday, which is already in play out there with Halloween time.
Theme.
Yeah,
yes.
because it's so both holiday and Halloween time. It's great. Love it so much.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And, all the other touches of, at the parks that they have for the holidays are just, it is very special at Disneyland that they do have so many things, whether it's, like you were mentioning, total transformations or layovers or just sounds and songs and other types of festivities with attractions changing.
I've said it many times and I continue to say it, even though Walt Disney World has done better and is catching up, but Disneyland, pound for pound, if you're talking about decorations for the holidays,
square foot,
square foot for square foot, they do it better than Walt Disney World. Their decorations, they're more extensive. They have a lot more to examine as you go out there. That my opinion.
Yeah.
Love them both, but I think Disneyland's are just slightly better.
Right. Well, and they do have layovers in some of the attractions at Walt Disney World. Just seems like there's more of them, as I mentioned, in California. I love like the Mater.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to get to those here.
Okay,
in just a second.
I'll let you go.
Spoiler alert.
No, okay, go on.
The story went on to say, at Disney's California Adventure Park, discover the sights, sounds, and tastes of a diverse season of celebrations during the festive time of year, including Christmas, Navidad, Diwali, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Three Kings Day. Friends and families are invited to celebrate with Disney Viva Navidad, as Disney characters host a fun street party featuring Mexican folklorico dancers and mariachis, Brazilian samba dancers and percussionists, giant puppets, which there's a word there that I'm going to butcher if I say it. So it's a named kind of puppet, but I am going to butcher it, so I will not even say it.
But puppets.
They are giant puppets.
Yes.
And Mickey and Minnie Mouse in their Fiesta Best. At Paradise Gardens, you'll enjoy festively themed food and beverages, live music and dance, and later in the holiday season, Mirabelle from Walt Disney Animation Studios' upcoming film Encanto will be making her park debut. So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
New character in the park, and that movie, just from the trailer, looks fantastic. I'm excited about it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Looks like it's going to be a favorite.
As Michelle just alluded to, over in Cars Land, the four-wheeled residents will be pulling out all the stops with their holiday decor, from the snow-covered billboard at the entrance all the way to the hubcap-studded tree at the courthouse. You will see automotive ornamentation, easy for me to say, at its finest along Route 66, and for a little more festive magic, two popular attractions will transform into, yes, Luigi's Joy to the World and Mater's Jingle Jamboree.
Yeah, it's awesome. First of all, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but now that you're bringing it up and it's in my mind again now, is the decorations and the creativity of using things that are associated with cars, like car parts and everything, to look holiday is just phenomenal. Those Imagineers really are impressive with what they've done.
Cars Land is as immersive as virtually any land you're going to find at any Disney park. And what they decided to do, and I think we've talked about it here on the show before, was they're like, okay, what would the decorations be if the actual cars were making them? And they're so ingenious, as you were just mentioning. They're so awesome. And this goes for the Halloween time stuff as well. It's fantastic just walking up and down Route 66 there, up and down Cars Land, and checking out the decorations and how interesting they are and what they're made from. It's really, really cool stuff.
Who would think nuts and bolts and wrenches could make
pistons?
Yeah, beautiful looking holiday decorations. Yeah. It's crazy great
stuff. Highly recommend. Even whether I know there's a lot of people who aren't really into the Cars franchises for films or whatever, but man, Cars Land is cool.
Yeah,
it's just really cool, and it was one of the first super immersive lands that Disney ever had, and there have been many more that have come out since, but you feel like you're right in the film, and it's really, really a fun place.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so that's it for my Disney stories of the week, but as we heard, we have a Michelle story, and we know that is going to be the best story. That's why we save her for last. So Michelle, please tell what your story is.
All right. Well, I didn't know if you were going to cover this, so I don't have anything written up. I'm just going to do it off the top of my head. Hopefully it makes sense. So I know a lot of you have known about the Moms panel, which later on transitioned to be Plan Disney, which made sense. And so since the pandemic, they really put on hold the process to get new members involved. Now, it's not a paid position. It's voluntary. You do get perks, but they are now gearing up for the 2022 season of new panelists on the Plan Disney panel. And so that process of applying for that starts this coming week on September 9th. And so we can put out there the link to get to the location to do that process. It's well, first of all, a lot of people are doing it, but they have categories that you can apply for. So whether it be Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, and Disney Vacation Club. Thank you. Like I said,
in the past the last time they did it, they didn't have a Run Disney position available, but they've done that in the past as well. So check into that if you're a Run Disney fan.
It didn't sound like they were going to do that from the Plan Disney tweets and things that came out, but maybe
check into
you
it just in
never know.
case. If you are a Run Disney aficionado.
Right. And so anyways, and I know we've done a series before of the process. If you're interested or if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. I think the process, the phase 1 of it goes from September 9th, I think, till the 14th, I believe. But anyway, so you can go online and answer questions and tell a little bit about yourself. It's a really interesting process that they have you go through. We won't get into details now because it's just a news item. But anyways, if you haven't, like I said, if you have any questions about it, let us know. We both have applied in the past. You've made it on for a little further than I did. But anyways, just wanted to put that out there if anybody's interested in considering trying out for the Plan Disney panelists for 2022.
Yes, and highly encourage it. If you're someone who is a helpful person who likes to tell people, or help people with their questions with Disney, and you're like, you have a lot of experience with Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Vacation Club, Disney Cruise, whatever your specialty is, or if you branch across a lot of them, highly suggested. It's an interesting process to go through, and yes, there are perks involved, including there's a training process that if you get selected, you go out there for a few days and you go through this training thing. I assume that's still the case. That's the way it was in the past. You go out there for a few days and you get all sorts of cool experiences just from the training part of it. And then eventually you will also get a paid vacation for you and your family to go take out there. That is basically your payment for doing this job that is not a paid position. But more than that, the process is interesting. And there are lots of Facebook groups that are out there that are very supportive and will help you out. We've met many friends through the Facebook groups that will help through the process. If you've never done it in the past, they may give you some ideas, kind of let you know how things might go and how it's gone for them. It really is great. Go back and listen to our episode. It was within the first year. Sorry about it being the first year of our show, and not that we're great now, green, but but we did break down kind of when it was the Disney Parks Moms panel before it was changed to Plan Disney, kind of the process and some tips and what these people do and everything. And you may want to check that episode out before you apply. But more than anything else, we know that several of you who listen to this show are prospective panelists. We are wishing you well. We are rooting for you. We will not be applying for it this year, but we know many of you would be great in that job.
Exactly.
There's several of you that we know that are really, really good. You know your Disney stuff. You're extremely helpful to people. You're extremely wonderful people, and we are rooting for you. So good luck out there, and let us know how it goes for you, and maybe that'll be your favorite thing from this week is applying or making it to the second round or whatever it is. And we hope to see many of you on the next panel, the 2022 panel.
Right. And thank you so much to all the panelists who have had to go on a little bit longer than they had initially thought they were going to do when they first were put into the Plan Disney panels in 2020.
Yeah. Plus, they've had a little bit trickier questions now having to deal with COVID as opposed to just, what time is the 3 p.m. parade?
Right.
Anyway, Michelle's story's always the best story. Speaking of the best from Michelle, we are to that point that we all know, we all love. Yes, she has the best lists. Yes, she has the best stories. Yes, she does the best research. But she definitely has the very best tip. So let's get to it. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
This tip I think is kind of quirky, but it just, it's something that I do think about, especially, with being kind of a clean freak anyway. So let's say you're planning to go to a resort and you want to purchase one of their refillable mugs, which is, can be really a good deal to do that. And they're great keepsakes and things like that is, just kind of be planning for that in the sense of, you'll want to have a way when you at the end of the day or whatever to clean it out, and so you might want to pack something that could help you, like some just soap or something like that. But the other thing too is in regards to the straws, because especially if you're changing drinks, or your kids changing drinks that they want, and you want clean straws, and you can also purchase reusable straws and bring those along. That could make things a little bit more convenient. And there are times, there are some products out there, and we're not supporting any particular brand or anything that does have reusable straws that even come with a little brush to clean it, and sometimes with a little sack that you can put it in. If not, you can use Ziploc type bags. But anyways, it's something that is a good benefit to have to use those reusable mugs, refillable mugs, I should say, at the resorts if you're staying there, and then just to make it a little easier is to come prepared.
Right, and that goes for reusable water bottles too, which
True.
is me hydrate. The water bottles are also important too, and so you want to try and clean those out from time to time when you're at the parks. But definitely, when you're having various different drinks within a reusable mug like that, you will probably want to clean it fairly often.
Yeah.
And plus, just the germs that are out there in the world right now. You want to keep those things as clean as possible. So Michelle's tip, always the best tip.
Too funny.
My tip for this week, well, we just found out today, they were just shown on the Disney Parks blog and out there on social media. We saw today the Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend medals, and they are stunningly gorgeous. I'm so I am trying to figure out how we can go now and do this. We can't.
Right.
But man, I would really love to, because those medals are awesome.
They're
and I'm
sweet. Yeah.
so happy for any of you that are going to get to earn those medals coming up here in January of 2022. So cool. So, but I figured this might be a good time to kind of go over. You're probably getting ready for some of these races. Heck, the Food and Wine is just coming up here in a couple months, and then we have the Walt Disney World, the Princess Marathon, the Springtime Surprise, whatever that's going to be, which is the one that we're probably going to do. And I just wanted to give you some quick training tips that maybe if this is your first Run Disney race that you've never done. I will mention a couple episodes that we have at the end of this. Again, first year episodes, so please be gentle with us on those, but they are some that deal with Run Disney. But the first thing I want to tell you, if you have never done a Run Disney race, or any race for that matter before, please train for it.
Yeah.
I know it's not daunting. You can do like a 5K and not train that much. You can walk most of it. It's fine. But it's still better to just kind of be in shape for it, just because, it's early in the morning. It is a distance. You probably will still want to go to the park that day. You don't want to wear yourself out too much. So if you've trained for it, that's good. Warm up for every time you do a training run or walk or whatever it may be. Stretch out, get yourself warmed up. Don't go out cold, even if you're running in the mornings or whatever, because that's the way you can injure yourself, and that would stop your training quickly or worse. So please be careful and warm up before you go out. Don't overdo it too early. That's an easy thing to do. You can just go, I'm going to get out there and just do that 5K. No. If you've not been running up to that point, even if you ran in the past and haven't run in a while, make baby steps up to it. Get up there. Maybe if you've never run before, do a little walk run. Walk a lot, run a little, and then gradually increase your running as you go along so you can run more of it. Take it in baby steps. Another thing, one of the big reasons for doing this is because, look, working out in any stretch is not easy.
Right.
And if you overdo it too soon, you may be sore, you may be pained, you may injure yourself. It may be a terrible experience for you. And that's going to not motivate you to want to keep it up. So set your goals, increase your goals, but make them attainable goals that keep you making, so it's not just awful and you just don't want to keep going on doing it. It's tough enough to motivate yourself, but when you make it really, really tough on yourself, it's even harder.
That's true.
Hydrate and fuel for these and for the races. Be sure and eat, good, healthy foods. They do say carb load carefully. Carbs are good, but they're not super necessary, but they are good for you.
Right.
But hydration is really, really key for this, for sure. You can do this. More importantly, even if you've never done a Run Disney race before, you can do this. Again, a 5K, you can walk most of it. Just run a little bit, walk briskly for most of the rest of it. You can do this. Even the 10K, even a half marathon. But you can do it if you put out the effort and train for it and get ready for it in the right way. And if you want to hear our episodes that focus more on specifically like training, Run Disney training, what worked for us. Now, everybody has a different system. This is what worked for us. Right. Go to episode number 7 of our show. That shows you how early it is. Again, please bear with us. We gave our Run Disney training tips that worked for us. We've done half marathons and, 10Ks, 5Ks, etc. And then if you're just looking for an episode to kind of know what to expect on the day of the race, go to episode number 22 in our 10 Run Disney Race Day Commandments.
I remember that one,
which was a fun episode where I just kind of told you how you should approach race day when you're doing a Run Disney race, because that is an experience in and of itself.
True.
So, go check out those episodes. But if you ever have any questions, like I said, we have done these Run Disney races, many of them. We would be happy to at least give you some ideas on what has worked for us. Everybody's different. What we do might not be right for you, but we can tell you what we've done and you can decide for yourself, and maybe you can adapt it to what you enjoy.
Yeah. Good tip, honey. Yay, bravo.
There we go. So that's it for this week. Next week, we're drawing ever closer to Walt Disney World's 50th birthday celebration, a birthday celebration that unfortunately we will not be attending in person. Yeah, that's something that came up this week. We had to cancel our reservations. There's just too much going on. We had to steer them away, cancel our reservations. It's a sad day for us. We'd really like to be out there, but we're hoping you get to experience it for yourself. And even if not, hopefully you can live vicariously through us as we build up for it. Just like we will be. We'll be along. Most of you aren't going to, so we'll be right there with you, not going, wishing we were able to go. But anyway, we're back with another episode that's counting down to that October 1st celebration. It's the final episode of the series.
Yes.
Michelle back with her wonderful research that she does, looking in the history of the most magical place on earth. Michelle, tell the listeners what you're going to be diving into next week.
So on the final episode or countdown episode, we're really going to be looking back at the celebration that took place 50 years ago and a lot of things that were happening back then, the real history of the Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom Park.
Cool. And Michelle does such a great job with those, and you're definitely going to want to check those out for sure as we head to the big party that's going to be happening on October 1st that we will be watching on television.
Right.
Fortunately there. So that should be a lot of fun. And Michelle does such a great job. I can't wait. Always learn new stuff whenever Michelle does research.
And if you can't be at the Disney park, like you said, there's things that are going to be televised that you can watch. Maybe you're near another park that you can go to, another Disney park. Or maybe you'll celebrate at home another way. We'd love to hear about that too.
Yeah, tell us how you're going to celebrate.
Maybe have a special dessert or drink or something.
Something. Go to the Disney Dishes blog and find some recipes to whip up.
That's true. Yeah.
For it. So anyway, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
we'd love you to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. And we do not share your email with anybody. It's just to send you the newsletter.
Nope. It's just another way for you to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. Another way is to follow us on social media. Please check us out on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you're on Facebook, why not sign up for our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group? A lot of fun, a lot of positive Disney vibes going on there. Love to have you there. We are on YouTube. If you want to find us there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. And if you have some feedback from this episode or you want to participate in some of the Labor Day celebrations, look back on films, let us know what you have as your interesting jobs.
Yeah, that's true. We would love to share all of that with everybody out there. We just love your input. We love connecting with you. We love knowing more about you. So please hit us up, as Michelle said. So that's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.